Big Questions with the Dead Milkmen. Hi, welcome to Big Questions. Tonight we're talking about cover songs. Everybody's guilty of making them. We are, the Ramones made them, even the daughters of senators and railroad barons made cover songs. So tonight we are talking about our favorite and least favorite cover songs. And I get to go first. As usual, I come out of the box strong. My favorite cover song, I know I just saying it's my favorite, but I really, really like it. It always makes me smile. It's hard to tell your favorite cover song, but like I say, this one I love. It's BiGod 20's cover of Madonna's Like a Prayer. It is absolutely gorgeous. I always love it when I'm in a club and I hear it. And the weird thing about it is when people talk about great cover songs, a lot of people, these are songs a lot of people don't realize are covers. So I'm talking about like when the Damned did Eloise, a lot of people thought that was an original. Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You. People thought that was an original, didn't know it was Prince. Johnny Cash with Hurt. A lot of people didn't know that was Nine Inch Nails. But nobody ever says, oh, wow, that's a BiGod 20 song. People know it's Madonna, but they still love it. They absolutely love this track. The great thing about it is it's just very, very danceable. It's very different. It's the idea of like, what if somebody had actually really done something cool when they produced Madonna's Like a Prayer? It makes you love Like a Prayer. Every DJ I know keeps it kind of tucked away. You always have it with you in case things slow down. You can fill the dance floor by playing BiGod 20's version of Like a Prayer. And the thing is that Madonna started out making dance music. So this kind of returns her to her roots, to back before she learned to rhyme Pilates with soy lattes, which I've never forgiven her for. So, and I'm just assuming that Madonna's roots aren't blonde, but yeah, so it's just a great song. It's just a fun song, and it's just something I really love. And it's just a really good example of having fun with a cover. So that's my favorite one.
The bass line border.
T. Yeah, now my least favorite, and you know this is going to be good. I always tell people, don't make an album of cover songs. That's a big mistake. For every like one great album of cover songs, like Go Fight's Anthem, there are like 1,000 bad cover albums out there.
I would also argue that Bowie's Pinups is a good cover album.
Yeah, there's a couple things on that.
Okay.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, generally speaking. Also, there's a certain record company that used to be cool back in the 80s. There are two record companies that used to be cool back in the 80s that me and my friends are always busting on now. And one of them just turns out a lot of cover albums. If they approach you people, and you'll know what I'm talking about, don't do it. Save your career. Don't give them anything. But by far, when we finally opened the Rock and Roll Hall of What the Fuck, an entire wing will be devoted to Duran's Thank You album. This thing it's an album of covers, and it should be covered with dirt. People call it No Thank You. What is it? There's on there is White Lines. There's a cover of White Lines that is abysmal. Getting higher, baby. There's a cover of Watching the Detectives that I've always called Watching the Defectives. It's really, Dean, as an Elvis Costello fan, you don't want to hear that. There's a cover of Bob Dylan's Lay Lady Lay. And I'm not a big fan of Bob Dylan. I can't tell if it improves the song or not. I would say it's actually worse than the original. It is really, really bad. But the one that stands out manages to be both bad and offensive. And that is their cover of Public Enemy's 911 is a Joke. That's right. White British billionaires covering a song about how the communities of color are underserved by like ambulances and stuff. Like, how do you get to be that rich and famous that you don't have anyone in your circle of friends that says, just takes your side and goes, listen, Simon, no, Simon, no. I mean, there should have been, somebody should have stepped in. It is,
lines, man.
What's that?
It was those white lines.
Yeah, it was the white lines. It was. I'm cranking you up here on my end. Yeah. When I tell people about it, like nobody ever believes me. They think I'm making it up. I'm not making it up. Go out there, look out there for yourselves. Yeah, thank you. It's just stick with BiGod 20's cover of Like a Prayer, and just if you can avoid. Now people are going to go and listen to it just on a dare. But yeah, think twice before you venture into that swamp. So that is least favorite and of course favorite covers.
The first time I heard Elton John's version of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, I thought that was an original. And it still stands as to me, a great cover version of a song. But my absolute favorite cover song, and I had to go through a long list because there's so many good ones. I've decided what is the Dickies doing Nights in White Satin. It's a moody blues song that's normally kind of sedate, I don't know, slow tempoed, and they just crank it up. And for me, it was one of the first songs I heard that did that sort of thing. And I know that's done probably way too much these days, but for me, that's a good, I think they do the song justice, they make it their own, and it rocks.
The Dead Kennedys did a good job of speeding up Viva Las Vegas. Sometimes when you speed up a song.
Also, now that you mention it, yeah, that is a contender as well. Good point. But for some reason, what stuck in my head was Nights.
Apple Polisher.
Yeah.
That's your favorite?
Oh, right. Well, my least, I hate to say it, but my least favorite one is one by us, the Dead Milkmen. And it's our cover of Led Zeppelin's South by Suarez. I don't know how I do know how that song got to see the light of day, but it's not a very good representation of what a cover should be about. And we've covered a lot of songs. We've recorded a lot, and I do like our Big Time Operator cover. I think we hit the nail on that one, but also Rocket Ship is not that bad. But yeah, I don't know. That one went south. I'll blame myself.
So yeah, I also thought there were quite a few good ones. But I realized that one that I never get tired of hearing, and one that I thought was an original, and one that apparently has some amazing story attached to it that I found out years later after first hearing it, is the cover by the band X called Dancing with Tears in My Eyes off of Under the Big Black Sun. I just thought it was such a great song, and then found out it was a cover and thought, oh wow, and it's from like the 40s or something. I don't even remember. I didn't look into this before the meeting. But I heard that they were playing that song in either the early 80s or late 70s, like maybe in like a mental hospital. I know the Cramps played in a mental hospital. I have a VHS copy of that, which is amazing. But apparently it like took somebody out of a catatonic state because they remembered that was like their wedding song or something in like the 40s, and they had been stuck in this catatonic state for so long, and like they heard X playing this and was like, I never actually looked in to see if this was a true story because I heard about it before the internet, and just like to think that it is. If anybody out there knows whether this is true or not, let us know. The
catatonic state is South Dakota, just so you know.
Yeah, it was one of those. West Dakota. So an honorable mention I'd like to mention is Sonic Youth kind of doing I Want to Be Your Dog on the Confusion is Sex album. It's like there's a very noisy like ambient thing going on, and then suddenly it like tears into like a live performance with Kim Gordon singing it. And she's just like howling the lyrics. It's just amazing to me. I don't know. I sit through the like 5 minutes of Freezer Burn, like just to hear it like tear into that. And another honorable mention, and I'm not just saying this because it was us, but Lydia the Tattooed Lady, the arrangement of that is really freaking awesome. I thought the original was great, but what we did with it, like, I don't know. I think it's some of our finest, like, arranging. Rodney had a lot to do with that, switching it from.
Don't tell people that. They think it's all Joe. You're gonna get the comment section and be like, me like Joe, man. He draw things.
So yeah, speaking of the Dead Milkmen, I think my least favorite cover is Corey Feldman's cover of I'm Flying Away, which I think I'm so serious about it because it was like probably 4 or 5 years of hearing about this in existence before I actually heard it. And
I don't know if I've ever heard it.
I gotta hear it. I finally heard it and was like, no. Joe was like, don't look for it. And I was like, no, I gotta hear it. I really wish I hadn't heard it. Like, I'm not even. Let's not even provide a link to it, please. It's so.
Have to now.
Imagine him going through our catalog and going, "This is the one."
Yeah, I was hoping it was like, so bad it's good, but it goes past.
It goes past being that. I know. A little too much.
And then a dishonorable mention, which was disappointing to me because I like Crispin Glover, but he did a really god-awful version of the song Ben by Michael Jackson, which I think is a great song, even though it's like a friend love song to a rat. Something tells me that, Crispin Glover would have been a great match for that, and it's just not. It's not good. So
the thing that gets me about Corey Feldman, he was in the same movie with Sweaty Sax Guy. Remember, he was in Lost Boys with Sweaty Sax Guy?
Yeah.
And but Sweaty Sax Guy isn't on his album. If I knew Sweaty Sax Guy would be on everything I did.
He probably offered it to him and he declined.
He probably declined it. I wasn't even, I got as far away from the studio so I could be linked to that song as possible.
That's good thinking.
All right. So you done, Dan?
Yeah.
So I'm going to start out with my worst cover. And it's going to be the second reference tonight of Madonna. It's Madonna's cover of American Pie.
Oh, yes.
It is really bad. Okay. I think it came out in like the early 2000s. I can't remember the exact year. The original was released by Don McLean, of course, in the 70s. It was an unusual single because I think it's spanned both sides of the 7-inch single. It was like 8.5 minutes long. And she does a version of it. She cut it down to like 4 minutes or whatever. It starts out, kind of slow like the original does. And then it pops into like a jaunty, dancey, up-tempo version for the rest of the song. And basically, if you watch the video, which we will provide a link to, it's basically like 4 minutes of her shaking her assets interspersed with mournful shots of real Americans. It's just really horrendous. I mean, it's mostly shots of her jiggling in front of a large American flag. It is one of the worst covers that I've ever heard. It's really terrible. Before I move on to my best, I want to go kind of in between, and I'll circle back to a song that Joe mentioned, which is, I have to mention, any cover by William Shatner are so bad that they transcend bad and they become good. And you just have to hear his version of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. It's pretty astounding.
And Garbage Man is really good too.
Yeah. Well, we did
everything. Yeah, he makes them his own.
Yeah. You have to hand it to him. He's not afraid to do his own thing. Now, let's see. Moving on to my best cover, which also has a worst aspect to it, which I'll get to in a bit. One of my favorite covers, maybe, it's not my best, or, who's to say from day to day what your best favorite cover is, but one of my favorites is Soft Cell's cover of Tainted Love. And that song was originally released in the 50s by Gloria Jones, who was an American, but she kind of became successful in England during the Northern Soul kind of period that the English music scene had over there. So I really like their cover. There's a great video for it, which we'll provide a link to. As a little sidebar to Gloria Jones, incidentally, she became the romantic, or she was partnered with Mark Bolan in the early 70s. And she's actually the one who drove the car that crashed that killed Mark Bolan. And from reading up on her, she kind of split England before charges could be pressed. They had a son, and she and her son live in LA. And I think she's done some music stuff over the years. She's, from what I read, she recently started some kind of a music charity foundation in Mark's name in Sierra Leone, whatever that charity does, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, but the song Tainted Love was covered by, I think, a few people, but one of the worst covers of it, and maybe Rodney has heard this cover, there's a terrible cover of this song by Marilyn Manson.
It's pretty bad.
It's really, really bad. So, yeah. So those are my best and worst covers tonight.
There's a version that took place, I think it was a remake with Gloria Jones of the Gloria Jones version. I think Bolan may have been involved or not, but it happened between the original one she did and years before the soft cell version. And somebody once described it as, you can smell the cocaine on this record. And I thought that was absolutely amazing.
It's a great song. It's a great song. And soft cell do a really great version of it. So.
And before we move on, I just want to say before we move on to recommendations, every Rasputina cover, every time Rasputina covers something, it is freaking amazing. So yeah, I give them intense props for covering. So, all right, so we ready for recommendations? All right, watch my segue. It's good. So since we're doing covers, this is sort of a cover. For your eyes. I do eyes and ears. So the first one for your eyes. My recommendation for this week is The Mads, Marijuana, starring Sonny Bono. This is Frank Conniff and Trace Ballou, also better known as TV's Frank and Dr. Clayton Forrester from Mystery Science Theater 3000. And it is them watching a 20-minute PSA and riffing on it. And it stars what I believe to be a possibly stoned Sonny Bono. And there are a few things in this life that never stop being funny. I've probably watched this thing 10 times this week, and it never stops. I will laugh out loud at parts of it. It is so fast and so good that if you need cheered up, I can't. I really, this is the thing to find. Seek it out. If you're feeling down, put this on and watch it over and over again. So there's a couple thousand views, and I'm thinking maybe about 1,000 of them are mine. So really, really good. Now, for my recommendation for your ears, since we're doing covers, Laibach's Let It Be. For those of you who don't know, we're talking about difference between remakes and covers. So Britney Spears covered Satisfaction by trying to do it like the Stones did it, whereas Devo remade Satisfaction. There's no elements of the original Satisfaction. Laibach set out to do the same sort of thing. They took the Beatles' Let It Be album, and they left the song Let It Be off of it, and they just treated it in their own way. Laibach, if you don't know, and we mentioned them on the show a lot, they're like a Slovenian industrial band. This is the closest, and it's one of my 10 favorite albums. This is the closest anyone's ever gotten to actually capturing performance art on a disc. I mean, it's great. In the middle of all this sort of madness, there's a beautiful cover of Across the Universe, in which they basically invited another band on in the middle of their album. If I was like the dictator of the Dead Milkmen, in the middle of our albums would be another band. I really just love this. If you're not familiar with it, people, you've got to give it a listen. It's a life changer, and it's absolute act of genius, and it's very punk rock because it throws things on their end. I don't know a lot of the Beatles originals. Like, I don't know what the original Beatles one after 909 sounds like, but I love this one after 909. A friend of mine once said the Beatles weren't great songwriters, but whenever somebody covers them, like Dear Prudence, Susie and the Banshees, usually turns out to be pretty good. So yeah, please give this a listen. It will probably change your life. I don't know if for the better or not, but yeah, it's good.
I concur. I also have an album of covers. It's actually a cover album of another album in its entirety, and it's Angelique Kidjo. I think that's how you say it. Name Kidjo, performing the Talking Heads' "Remain in Light," and people describe it as Afro pop, and I think it's like a live version. It's a very lively version of that album, and I enjoy it. And another a cassette album. Well, it's an album, but it often found its way into my Walkman on Dead Milkmen tours is the Dickies' Great Dictations, and that has the song Night and White Satin on it, and a bunch of other songs like their version of the Banana Splits theme and Eve of Destruction. They do a good version of that. Plus their own songs. It's like a greatest hits of their A&M recording period.
Yeah, I would recommend that everybody find something to be grateful for.
I'm not doing
even in no, it's there. Anything, even if you're breathing, you know, you got to start somewhere. The earth is spinning still. Just because you know, there are times that like I wake up and I'm like, what is the point of all this? I don't know. Or sometimes I go to bed wondering that, or sometimes I wake up saying, life is great, I appreciate everything. And maybe I should find somewhere in between. So what I try to do every day is like be grateful for things. So if you think there's nothing you're grateful for, you're wrong. You should be grateful that you're realizing that you're wrong. And that's where you start. All right. I'm done.
Okay. I would like to recommend, I guess like Rodney, something for your eyes and something for your ears. But it's one thing. I may have recommended this YouTube channel before. It's a YouTube channel by a fellow named Adam Neely, who is a musician. He plays bass. He's his videos are amazing. He usually presents topics in quite detail about music theory and different topics about different types of concepts in music. His latest video, or one of his latest videos, I guess it came out recently, it's called The Great Myth of the Medieval Tritone Ban. And basically it's about a half-an-hour video. I highly recommend you watch the whole thing. And he sets out to disprove the common misconception that the Catholic Church banned the tritone. A tritone in musical parlance is like an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth. It's just kind of a dissonant sounding
the devil's tritone. It's
well, yeah, that's the thing. It's called the devil's tritone.
Yeah.
But he goes into great detail about how this is a myth and it's been perpetrated by countless people. It's kind of a hilarious video because he has all these tweets and video clips from all these YouTubers and things that are just misstating the myth over and over again. And he very thoroughly debunks the fact that this was actually banned by the Catholic Church or the church, whatever you want to call it. It's a very entertaining video and I highly recommend it. His channel is great too. I'm sure you can find a few other videos. His name is Adam Neely, and so yeah, that's my recommendation.
And for those of you who are looking for an example of what they used to call the devil's tritone, the beginning of Black Sabbath song, Black Sabbath, that
yes. It's featured in the video.
Oh, well, then I'm going to sue his ass. All right, how about the beginning of The Shining? Did he do the beginning of The Shining? They use it in the beginning.
He's got many examples in the
I got to shake the hell out of young people when I explain it to them. Like, what do you mean you don't know Black Sabbath are? What do you mean you never saw us? You little punk, you little weakling.
I'm guilty of perpetrating that because I literally yesterday was telling the kids about this and gave them examples on the keyboard. I was like, this was banned. I was like, isn't that cool? We should use it more often. And they were like, why was it banned?
You can watch the video again. Make your kids
lied to your children. You lied to your children, man. I'm going,
you lied.
They're used
Child
to it.
Protective Services. Yeah, it's the line.
Dude, I tell them I love them every day. Jeez.
I'm grateful that Dan lies to his children.
Somebody's got to.
He's told them he's in Kajagoogoo. Sorry, just catching up on some reading.
Oh. Just standing up and showing my shirt. All right. Ooh, that's a good one.
Great.
I want one of those.
What is this that stands before me? Oh, now we're going to get demonetized. Oh, wait, we don't charge for this. Ooh, I used to have a real big one of them and it went missing. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, I know what happened to it. Ex-girlfriend. All right, never mind.
How about this? Look at this. Chrissy found this.
What is it?
Oh, wall. It's a wall socket.
It's an album cover,
I've
but it's
seen
like
that.
somebody just made it, but put this really cool, scary thing on it.
It tells us a lot about the person that made it.
Oversized outlet cover.
It's the devil's tritone of outlet cover. Catholic Church should make that illegal.